have them in the waters here. There's also a little more rare is the 7-gill shark. I'm sure you can put together why it's called that. It's